speaking of Corbin, after your homer barrage recently, he was asked about your power, and he said it was, quote, pretty average. Care to respond?
We'll say his cutter's pretty average.
Fly ball onto the track, at the wall, it's gone! Home run!
Turns on a ball, deep right field, and gone!
What a game, what a moment.
All right, I am pumped to be joined again by friend of the pod, Gunnar Henderson. Absolutely killing it this year. Gunnar, thanks for hopping on again, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course. First off, gotta ask, the stash looking immaculate. How long are we riding with that? It seems a couple guys on the team are rocking the stashes these days. What's going on with that?
Yeah, so I know Westy, Jordan Westbrook, he had one, I think, to start. And I don't know, I had the goatee pretty much throughout all of spring training, and then got to the season, and I was about to shave it, and then my fiance said, just leave the stash. So I left it, and just letting it ride.
How do you go about, obviously, hitting well? That helps keep the stash. But what if she likes it, then you weren't hitting well? What would you have done? Would you have shaved it anyway?
Probably. We'll see how it goes.
So we talked about it early in the year on the show. One of the biggest stories in baseball so far this year. What can you tell me about Colton Cowser yeeting Craig Kimbrel's 422nd save ball in Kansas City? What was the locker room like after that?
No, it was funny. I mean, Craig, he's a great guy, so he wasn't like too upset about it or anything. But Cowser actually walked around with the baseball and a little, like it's gonna work, and in a little bucket of rice. He had like a little sleeve of rice, acting like that was gonna dry it out. But yeah, it was it just made for some good quality humor around the clubhouse, him having to carry that around. So
he's been obviously a great help at a lot of points this year in the lineup, Cowser that is. But it seems like he's also just a great locker room dude. How has he transitioned to the big league squad?
Yeah, I mean, last year he obviously didn't do as good as he wanted to, but I feel like those experiences that he's learned have really helped him this year, because he came in this year with a really good mindset. He's still his same, just kind of cut up, funny self, but he's also like more serious on his process and sticking to it, and just really taking care of himself. And I've been really impressed with it.
I feel like with a lot of these young guys, there's so many in this Orioles system and now in the big leagues. With a few of them, I would say yourself included, there's been stretches of times where it's a struggle and then you learn to get out of it. I think last time you were on, we talked about that. You had a slower start to the year and then figured it out and had a great year. One of those guys, you mentioned Cowser, but Jackson Holliday as well, top prospect in baseball. Everyone knows the kid's going to be a stud, but he comes up and really struggles. And I think he's surrounded by people that have almost it probably benefits them. They've been through it. They know how to struggle and then figure it out and come back and be successful. And the organization knows that as well. So what'd you see from Jackson Holliday? And were you able to talk to him saying, hey man, I went through this as well. You're gonna figure it out and be a pretty damn good baseball player.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like he's in the exact same position that I was in.
Yeah.
I was just fortunate enough to be able to completely get through it at the big league level. But yeah, it just seemed like I said, at that point, or at this point last year, it seemed like you're just walking up to the plate 0-2 every time. And it's just like going at it every single day can get really tough mentally, but he handled it really well. Yeah, it's only a matter of time before he gets back here. But I just kind of told him like that was the experience that I went through, and kind of I leaned on my teammates. They really helped me a lot, and then the coaches and stuff. And the biggest thing is just not losing confidence in yourself, because in the big leagues it's really easy to do that, especially when you first get caught up and start struggling. And then yeah, for me the biggest thing was just staying aggressive. Don't let the results just make you try to be more perfect in a sense. Just get out there and stay aggressive. And if you fail aggressively, then I'd rather do that than failing not so aggressively. So
how cool is it to have, I mean, this can't be said for the other for every other 29 organizations in the league. How cool is it to have an organization that is willing to let you grow in the big leagues? And I would even say that's true for Jackson Holliday. He got a lot of opportunity, and even when he was struggling, they would run him back out there and let him have his chance to hit out of it. And now he's doing that in AAA, and I have no doubts he'll be back. But how valuable to you is that to allow you to struggle in the big leagues? I'll forever remember a story my brother was talking about when he first came up. Jim Leland was the manager for the Tigers, and he credits a lot of Jim Leland just letting him stay out there and letting him struggle and letting him work through that to the success that he's gone on to have in the big leagues. So how valuable is that to have that in your organization?
Yeah, I mean, I was very fortunate and blessed, and I can't thank the Orioles enough for letting me just go through it at the big league level. Just getting that experience, and then just learning how to get through it and just how to break through it at the end of it. And that's I felt like that's been huge development for me, because I kind of had something similar in the minor leagues, and it helped me throughout my years after. And it was I honestly feel like that's the best way to go through it, is to have that struggle so you can learn how to go through it, because as baseball players know, you're going to go through it again at some point, probably every year.
Yeah. Last time you were on, the Orioles looked fairly similar, just minus one big, massive arm at the top of that rotation now. It was huge news in the offseason. Where were you when the Orioles traded for Corbin Burnes?
I think I was just at home, and then I was just chilling on my phone. I think my little brother was like, "Hey, did y'all just see y'all got Corbin Burnes?" I was like, "No, I don't think so." But yeah, I went and checked it and then saw it, and it was pretty special. I mean, got to face him last year, and glad he's on our side now.
So it was equally a surprise to you. You hadn't heard anything before the news became official.
I haven't, no, sir. It was until it was released on like the little MLB app, or I can't remember if it was there, Instagram or something.
Yeah. So you obviously face him. You know what he's like in the box. You're glad you don't have to face him anymore. But as a person, he's also been on the show and seems like a great guy. But getting to be his teammates, what have been your first impressions meeting Corbin Burnes and having him in the locker room?
Yeah, he's an awesome dude. We play a lot of bumper pool with each other. His locker's right across the table, so we end up playing a lot of bumper pool against each other. But he's really awesome dude to be around. Enjoy watching his process on start days, just kind of seeing like what a previous Cy Young winner, what he does on his start days, and being able to just kind of watch it is pretty cool. And then especially watching him go to work on the mound is pretty special.
Well, you personally this year, I got to ask about your 14th homer of the year, because to me, that's been the most impressive one so far. You went oppo at Camden Yards, and for those that don't know, that fence got moved way back. It's hard for righties to hit it out. I think you're one of like 3 lefties at this point to ever hit it out to that deep part in left field.
Yeah.
I mean, you got it, but when you hit a ball that way, did you know you got enough of it to hit it out?
Yeah, so normally in minor leagues, I went opposite field a lot, so I know when I get it. I felt like I got it pretty good, but then as soon as it came off and I saw it, I was like, "Oh crap, that ball is pretty high." So I started running a little bit, and I was very glad to see that thing sneak over.
It really is. Is that the number? Are you now the 3rd lefty to hit it out over that wall?
I think so, because I think Outman hit the first one, and then Rutsch hit one. And then, I think it was the 3rd.
When they move that wall back, I feel like every top prospect coming up through the system with the Orioles, a lot of them are right, or a lot of them are left-handed. Was that part of it? Did that go into it, or were they just saying it's too short over there to left? We're gonna just back it up. Was it just the fact that they needed to back it up, or did they know it was coming?
I have no idea what the reasoning was. Wish they wouldn't have raised it that high. I don't mind like the distance, just the height of it makes
just lower it, please.
Yeah, you have to hit it that much further. But I mean, it's I guess a cool little objective whenever you do get it over that wall.
Well, you personally, so far this year, obviously a great pace. You're on pace for what would be a franchise record, 55 homers. I mean, this might even be a dumb question because I bet you're feeling good, but how are you feeling at the plate right now? The ball looking like it's one of those times where the ball just looks like a beach ball at the plate right now.
I honestly feel like I'm just getting into, because I feel like I'm a perfectionist when it comes to my swing, just because growing up it was just my dad and I working on my swing, and I know the feeling that I want to have, and kind of in the earlier parts of the year it wasn't exactly what I wanted to feel, but the hitting coaches we've been working, and I feel like I'm in a good process oriented mind right now, and I felt like I was getting maybe my hands a little caught behind and kind of dragging a little bit, and we kind of cleaned that up, and I'm feeling like my body's in a good position to put a good swing on the ball, and I feel like that's what I've been doing for the past about week, and just looking forward to keeping that going.
I'm always interested, and I try not to often dive too deep in the weeds here of swings but myself personally, I had a fairly similar, when I was struggling, the same sort of thing would happen, and I would get my hand, I felt like my hands would get stuck, and then I'd kind of arm bar out and around the ball and not really able to pull my swing through the way I wanted to and get in the slot I wanted to. What are some of the drills that you do to, like, when you're talking to your hitting coach and you felt stuck? What are some of the things you work on in the cage?
For me, is the biggest thing is, like I said, or we can backtrack. Whenever I talked to you about those struggles in the minor leagues, the hitting side of things, I was going down deep rabbit holes of trying to change every single thing.
Yeah.
So when I got going again, I just got back to what got me there, and honestly, just not changing anything. So I've tried to stick to that to this day. And the only thing that I've ever tried to change, if it doesn't feel right, is just my hands. Nothing with my body, my setup, or anything. Just my hands, because I feel like that's
placement
for
of
me.
Them?
Just like, actually, honestly, for me, distance away from my body, because I'll tend to get them caught behind, and they'll drag through the zone, like you said. Yours would. That's the biggest thing for me, is just the hand placement and just allowing myself to be able to turn to the ball. And I feel like if I do that, then I'll be able to put good swings on the ball and give myself more shots at doing some damage somewhere. Yeah. So that's been the biggest thing for me, is just not going down those rabbit holes of changing every single thing, trying to get good feels for that day rather than sticking to something that it might take 2-3 days to get that process and get that feel of it. But ultimately down the road, that's going to help you in the long run rather than those good feelings in BP.
Speaking of Corbin, after your homer barrage recently, he was asked about your power, and he said it was, quote, pretty average. Care to respond?
We'll say his cutter's pretty average. It's all fun. Yeah, he's probably still just a little mad at me for beating you in bumper pool too many times.
That pretty average cutter also the pretty average power hits a lot of homers. The pretty average cutter hits some Cy Young awards. So a lot of average stuff happening in that Orioles locker room.
Yeah, he's a good dude. It's funny.
So you have new ownership there with the Orioles, and the new owner, Rubenstein, recently spent a game out in the bird bath with your fans. I mean, I think that just scratches the surface of the new vibe he's bringing. I mean, as players, can you guys feel the vibe he's bringing? He just seems like all you want as a baseball fan and as a baseball player is to have an owner that loves baseball and wants the team to succeed. And this guy came in and seemingly just loves Baltimore, loves the city, loves the team, and wants to win. Can you guys feel that?
Yeah, I mean, he's bringing an unreal energy. He's just going out there and really embracing the city. It seems like every game he comes to, he's throwing out hats for the fans and stuff. He's going out to the splash zone, and he's really loving it. You can tell he's enjoying it, just being out there. His seats are right beside the dugout, and he's always like tossing different hats and stuff. So he's really enjoying it and really getting the fans back in the stands, and it's been really awesome seeing the yards packed out.
How much have you guys enjoyed the bird bath out there? It looks like, I mean, me personally, I just see it and I want to go be a part of it. It looks awesome to have out there. It looks like it gets everyone involved, and obviously they're bouncing off of what you guys do as a team with your celebration and in the dugout. How cool is that to have?
Yeah, I mean, it's all you can ask for. Just having the fans being able to have a section where they can feel like they're in the game as well with our celebrations and stuff. It's pretty cool being able to see that. And,
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of taking over the arts by storm because you see people doing sprinklers and stuff, and then especially getting the water hose sprayed all over them. So
It's great. I love it. Speaking of Rubenstein and that new ownership, all of Orioles Nation wants to know, and I want to know, when is that massive contract coming? Gunnar, give it to me, baby. Has any talks happened? When's it coming?
I have not heard anything as of yet. So yeah, I'm just going to continue to go out there and play my game. Just try to help the team win each and every night, and then that'll take care of itself down the road.
Let's get some money in this man's pocket, please. I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see you in an Orioles uniform. Hopefully, for a long, long time to come. But this year, I think you guys have been a little bit banged up to start the season. Obviously, once Corbin was added, Bradish goes down a little bit after that. Doesn't start the season with the team. Obviously, some injuries here and there so far throughout the season, missing chunks of time. How have you guys been able to not only stay afloat with guys out, but you've continued to be one of the best teams in the American League, and that's not easy to do, especially when some key players go down for chunks of time.
Yeah, I mean, some of the pitchers, they've been just nails. I mean, they've been able to go from like Irving and Suarez, they've been able to go to the starter role to reliever role, and they've been really doing well at both. And that's just credit to them for just being like, hey, I don't care what I do, just I'm going to go out there and try to do my job and help the team win. It's been really cool seeing everybody just kind of build together, kind of the same situation whenever Felix went down. It seemed like everybody was stepping up and knew that they had to step up in a big way. And I feel like that's the same thing. That's just a testament to our team. They just go out there, and it doesn't matter who it is. It seems like somebody else is going to come through in a big way on any given night. So it's really fun being able to watch it and be a part of it.
Speaking of roles at the back end of the bullpen, we talked about him earlier, but with Craig Kimbrel, have you ever faced Kimbrel?
I actually did. I got to face him in Philly last year.
So I think I've told this story on here before, but when I was in the minor leagues, I went up to play in a big league spring training game. He was still with the Braves. So he was like prime time Craig Kimbrel, and I get up in the box. I had never faced him, but he has that thing, and it's always looked intimidating. But I get in the box, and it's like he didn't even look to get a sign. He was just doing that, staring into my soul, and I feel like I was punched out before I even threw the first pitch. It's a pretty intimidating at bat.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, being from Alabama, growing up, I mean, watching him, or Atlanta's the closest team, so that was the games that we would get on Fox Sports, and it's pretty cool being able to. It's kind of full circle, being able to watch him do that, and when I was at a young age, and then being able to play with him down the road is pretty special. And he's from Alabama as well, so it's pretty cool being able to share that in common with him.
Yeah, I'm from Virginia, and the Nationals weren't around when I was like born and getting into baseball. Yeah. So at the time, the Braves were on TBS every single night for me. I was a massive Braves fan. Same sort of thing. Was watching Kimbrel, was a fan of that whole team and organization, and then to face him, I think I might have pooped my pants in the box a little bit that day. It is a scary at bat, man.
Yeah, it's fun. It's pretty cool. He's an awesome dude and just an unreal pitcher.
So I've been saying for, I don't know, I feel like a while now that there's a specific blueprint, I think, to win in Major League Baseball playoffs. And that involves having two studs at the top of the rotation, a third good starter, and then a good back into the bullpen. And I feel like that was all addressed. You went and got Corbin Burnes. Now being able to pair him with not only Bradish, but Grayson Rodriguez has nasty, nasty playoff stuff. So it looks to me the rotation's in good shape. Adding Kimbrel to the back end of the bullpen, it just felt like everything was addressed from last year, which you guys were the best team in the American League and end up in the number 1 seed, but didn't end up winning a game in the playoffs and going home. So when you look back on last year, obviously a lot of young guys in that lineup, what was learned from the postseason? I mean, what did you guys take away as a team, or maybe just you personally? What did you learn from playing in playoff baseball?
Yeah, honestly, really enjoyed the atmosphere. I mean, I knew it was going to be like electric crowds and stuff, but I really enjoyed it. I mean, just being able to hear, like, I'll tell you a quick story. Is when I first got signed to, or went to Orioles to get signed, I guess, out of the draft.
Yeah.
Um, sitting in the stadium, hearing that first "oh," it actually made me jump. And then all I could think about during like minor league tenure stuff, and until I got to the big leagues, was being able to hear that "oh" in the playoffs, because just seeing that crowd, and I think it was 2014 when I think it was Delman Young hit that double.
Oh, I
Just
remember
seeing the
well.
yards packed out. Yeah, I was really looking forward. That was something I was looking forward to, was hearing the "oh" during playoff baseball. So being able to see that crowd and hear that first "oh," it was pretty special to me. But yeah, the experiences in playoffs, it was unreal. I felt really comfortable, locked in during that, and it was looking forward to getting back into that atmosphere.
Do you think so? The second you experience the O and you build it up in your brain and you're going through the minors and you're like, all I want is to get back, to get to the playoffs and be able to hear it. So obviously you set the bar pretty high for it. When you did experience that, when you did get into the playoffs, did it blow you away? Was it everything you thought it would be?
Yeah, it gave me chills. I mean,
That's awesome.
You can't really put it into perspective until you're actually there. But yeah, they do it well, and that's one little minor thing that I like hearing every game. There's even on the road, how how many Orioles fans they are.
That's cool.
They do it on the road, so it's pretty cool.
I was there for that 2014 series, the Delman Young series, Tigers involved. That's some tough memories, man.
Yeah, yeah. Bittersweet on your end.
So you were there. You weren't there for that, were you?
No, I just saw videos and stuff of it. They would always pop up, especially when it got closer to like playoff time for us. It was always popping up on my Instagram and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I got a couple questions for you before we finish up here. Some fun ones, and I like to get the fans involved in questions and see what they want to know from you as well. So,
right.
First one for you: if you were to put together your all-time infield, we'll go first all the way around: first base, second base, third base, shortstop. What are you doing?
Okay. First base, I got to go on. I love Big Papi. Got to put him first base.
Love that.
Let's see. Second base, I'll have to go Craig Biggio. He just seems like a grinder.
Yeah.
Shortstop. Let's see. Trying to think about who I want. I feel like one of the more obvious answers would be Derek Jeter.
Okay.
Then we'll go third base. Trying to think of my favorite third baseman.
I feel like we might have the same answer here. You might just not be thinking about it yet.
I think I'm going to put Pujols there.
Oh, okay. I was going Chipper. I like Pujols, so that's a great call. I also thought you might go yourself at shortstop.
Yeah, well, we're going all time right now, so maybe hopefully down the road. I'm hoping, yeah.
This year, if you could personally, I know the team goals for you guys is to win a World Series. That's you got a taste of the playoffs last year. This year, you want to win the World Series. But for yourself personally, what are your goals this year? Last year, you had an unbelievable season. It was fantastic. This year, you've had a great start to this season. What would you say personally your goals are for this year?
I don't like to put like a number specific goal, because I've only been here for, I guess, a year and a half, closing in on 2. So yeah. I don't really know what to expect fully, but yeah, just like to go out there and just honestly, the biggest thing for me was just staying confident all year, and honestly just trying to stay comfortable and just really allow the game to come to me, not trying to go out there and do too much or try to be perfect, because I felt like I got caught up in that early last year, was trying to be perfect in everything. This year I just going out there being aggressive and trying to let the game come to me, and really kind of sticking to the process and just embracing the ups and downs of the season, trying to stay consistent. That was something that I want to do.
Yeah.
Came to spring training. I mean, it was nice being able to go into spring training, not trying to feel like I have to be making the team out of spring, and just really sticking to a process of what I felt like I needed to do in the box and get myself ready. And I felt like I've carried that into this year, just trying to, I guess, stick to a good process, come up with good plans for pitchers. And I feel like that's been the biggest thing for me, is just sticking to that every day, and the numbers will take care of themselves at the end of the year.
It's got to be cool to know, in essence, that your process is working, right? At the beginning of last year, when you struggled, you would really struggle. And like you said, it felt like you were behind 0-2 and you were out before you even got up there. And then fast forward to this year, when you feel like your process isn't yet perfect, or that you're a little bit off, you're still having success, just not yet the success that you believe you could have, which, I don't know, the evolution of that in 1 year, I think speaks volumes to you and the hitter you are, that your struggles are less than they were, but the success is greater than. That's got to be a really cool feeling to have.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like only good things can come from those failures if you embrace it and just learn from it. I mean, in time it sucks, but for me, both times that I had major struggles in the minor leagues and the big leagues, it's really helped me down the road. And I feel like just embracing it and then just kind of accepting it is the biggest thing, and using it for your future career.
Gunnar, always a lot of fun, man. I always love having you on and talking baseball and catching up. So I appreciate you always taking the time. It means a ton, and always rooting for you out there, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on, Ben.
Of course, man. See ya. All right, I just wanted to thank Gunnar Henderson again for joining me. Always a great conversation. Had him on last year, and to have him on again when he's having the year he is. Obviously a big fan of his on the field and what he brings, but seriously, off the field, he's just a great dude. I love catching up with him, and I love the success he's having this year. And I absolutely loved his answer about Corbin Burnes' cutter. I was dying laughing. That was awesome. Seriously though, what we talked about at the end, I do think is really cool as an evolution of a hitter. You know, like looking back on my career, it was just a roller coaster of ups and downs, and it's really hard to break out of those downs and get back up. So what he was able to do last year and getting out of it, and this year his struggles, if you will, or him just not feeling right, is a pretty damn good baseball player, you know, which is really cool. And now he's playing at an MVP caliber level. So really cool to see the evolution he's had while he's so young and still so new to this game. I think the future is bright, and I know we talked about it and joked around about it for a second, but if the Orioles don't lock him up for a long, long time to come, they are doing something wrong. But I wanted to thank Gunnar again for joining me. Also want to thank every one of you for listening. Please make sure you subscribe, follow wherever you listen to your podcast. Hit that button. It really helps. Apple, Spotify, wherever. You can also watch everything we do, every episode on Spotify. You can watch on our YouTube channel, Flippin' Bats Pod there. And follow us on TikTok. We put some really, really cool stuff out there, and we're trying to get to 100,000 followers. We're getting close. So thank you all. Really appreciate it. We will be back soon. But thanks again to Gunnar Henderson. And until next time, my friends, remember, find your bat and flip it. Peace.